Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. إن الحمد لله ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد Assalamu alaikum. So with this I welcome you all back again to our next session of what we had started, that is Surah Al-Baqarah. And in that we had already reached the fourth page, and screen share. Okay. So we were already on the fourth page and we have taken the first ayat, and now inshallah today we'll be taking the second. So with this, let us begin. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. So this is the repeat slides. We have been seeing that we are studying the first 5 pages, and alhamdulillah, we are on the fourth one now. And the pointers and how the pages are divided on the fingers, and the examples that we have taken on the first 3 pages for the short revision. Pointers will be praise to Allah, dua for guidance, guidance for the muttaqin, attributes of the muttaqin, then no guidance for the kafirin, no guidance for the munafiqin, about the corrupt fools and about the double face. That's the second page. Third page was the example of the fire. Second was the example of the rain. And then was the call of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to all mankind. And then the challenge to all the people about bringing the Quran. This is how this third page is linked to the fourth one. And the warning and good news. And second part today that inshallah I'm doing is example of the mosquito, and then about the people who go astray, and then Allah is questioning on how we can disable. So this is the fourth page, so we are on the B part of it, and the example that we are going to be seeing. So this is the fourth page, which is indicated by this particular finger. This finger thing is for easy remembrance. If you know the points, then you know what are the ayat on the page, and then if you know the broken ayat, you can actually put them back again. So we started with warning and the good news that Allah Ta'ala gave, and that was after the challenge. Now is the example of the mosquito. I'll just tell you how that is linked, and then would be the example of who goes astray and how can you disbelieve the question Allah Subhanahu wa Taala is asking. Today we'll be focusing on the mosquito part. That is the second pointer B on the fourth page. How it is linked with the previous ayat and the example of the mosquito that we'll be studying today, inshallah. Allah Ta'ala first gave the challenge and asked the disbelievers to bring an ayah or like what the Quran is. Then Allah Ta'ala gave warning to the people who will not be able to bring these kind of ayats, and also He gave glad tidings to the believers there, who will be inshallah given Jannah. Then going on after the challenge, Allah Ta'ala is trying to give another example or another challenge that Allah Ta'ala is sort of posing here. So in the previous ayah, Allah talked about the people who reject the Quran, and now He says that such people raise questions before even thinking properly. So what are the lessons that we have today? Is that Allah gives examples to us to help us understand. Believers know that it is haqq from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Only the disobedient people get lost. So we have to see where we are placed in this ayat. So these are the new words. They are just one word in the last part. The second last has 3, and then 2, and the first has about 3. But some words are common, and we would not have any difficulty in taking the meanings of those. We are learning with word for word and phrase for phrase translations and the explanation, so that when we take those 2 words together, we know the meaning of what is being. So with this, let us start with the proper ayat. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله لا يستحيي أن يضرب مثلا ما بعوضة مثلا ما بعوضة فما فوقها فأما الذين آمنوا فيعلمون أنه الحق من ربهم. We'll just take this out of the ayat first. So, Inna Allah, we already know Inna means indeed, indeed Allah. And whenever the noun is followed by Inna, we know that it will have a zabar or a fatha over it. So that is the reason Allah is having a zabar here, because there is an Inna before it. Otherwise, if the Inna was not there, then it would have been Allahu la yastahi. But since there is an Inna, that is why we have Allah, a zabar or a fatha on Allah. So Inna Allah, the Allah here will be pronounced with pur, with the full mouth. Inna Allah, indeed Allah. La is not yastahyi. So it might look like a big word, it might look like a complicated word, but the root of that is haya. Haya is being shy, and we know that whenever any verb gets a ista in front of it, indicates seeking the action of that verb. So ghafara is he forgave, istaghfara he seeked forgiveness, right? So haya is shyness, and istahya is to get ashamed of something. Seeking, uh, seeking haya. So it would be translated as being ashamed, or Allah Ta'ala does not feel anything bad about giving this example. Very simple. Inna Allah la yastahyi. So is not ashamed of what? Ain yadriba. Ain yadriba. Ain that yadriba daraba yadribu. You know that daraba means to strike, and striking here means striking the example. Allah Ta'ala is giving the example. Yadriba mathala. Mathala is example. So ain yadriba mathala, that gives or presents an example. Masala is in singular form because it is like having tanween. It is having a tanween that indicates that this is singular. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَسْتَحْيِي أَن يَضْرِبَ مَثَلًا مَا بَعُوضَةً. Example, ma what? Ba'udah. Ba'udah, a mosquito. Again here, ba'udatan is having two tanweens, indicates that this is singular. We know that from nouns, this is the sign of a noun. So this is singular. And also with the ta, we know that this is being spoken about a feminine, female mosquito. We'll take the example and inshallah have a presentation on the mosquito today, inshallah. If we have time, we'll go through that presentation. Fama fawqaha. Fa, us, then, ma, what, whatever. Fawqaha. Fawqa is above, ha is her. So since this mosquito here is being taken in the feminine form, who is not come or ha is come, like fauka ha, because the mosquito here is being talked of a feminine. Okay. So inna Allah la yastahi, indeed Allah is not ashamed, an yadrib, that he strikes, mathala, an example, ma ba'udatan, of or what, a mosquito, fama fawqaha, and what is above it. So what, a mosquito, and what is above it. For then, amma, as for, amma, as for alladhina amanu. Alladhina amanu, we already know, those who believed. فَيَعْلَمُونَ, for then, يَعْلَمُونَ, يَعْلَمُونَ, they all know. A'lama, ilm, from ilm. فَيَعْلَمُونَ, thus they know. أَنَّهُ, indeed that. Al-haqqu, that is the truth. What is the truth? The truth is the Quran. And the examples that Allah Ta'ala is giving. مِن رَبِّهِمْ, from their Rabb. This is a simplistic sort of translation of this is just a part of the ayah. We have the complete ayah coming inshallah after this. So, Inna Allah, indeed Allah, La yastahi does not get ashamed. An yadriba, that he strikes or presents. Here it is, the example is of striking because is striking an example. An yadriba, that he strikes or gives an example. Mathalam ma, any example of ba'udah, a mosquito. This is the photograph of mosquito. Ma fawqaha, or whatever is above it. So first part is now fa amma. The second part will be wa amma. Thus, for those who believe, فَيَعْلَمُونَ, they know أَنَّهُ, that indeed الْحَقُّ, it is the truth, that is the Quran is the truth, مِنْ رَبِّهِمْ, from the Rabb. Here, the ayah is the mosquito. Okay, so we'll take this. Somebody could just volunteer and translate. Who want to do it? Last time, somebody who's not done it last time.
Shall I try, sir?
Okay, go ahead, inshallah. Try to focus on the
Inshallah.
Makharij also and try to be slow so that your Makharij comes, right?
Yes, sir.
This,
That's why I'm offering, because it
mashallah.
gives a
Okay,
good chance to correct
right.
our makhraj under your supervision.
Inshallah. Go ahead.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله لا يستحي أن يضرب مثلا ما بعودة فما فوقها فأما الذين آمنوا فيعلمون أنه الحق من ربهم. إن الله, indeed Allah, لا يستحي, is not ashamed, أن يضرب, to present, مثلا ما, any example, بعودة, a mosquito, فما, or anything, فوقها, above it, فأما, then as for, الذين آمنوا, those who believe, فيعلمون, thus they know, أنه الحق, that it is the truth, من ربهم, from their Lord.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, so I'll just guide you through some of the sort of tajweed mistakes. We have discussed this a lot of times before, but A'udhu has an ain, so that has to come properly. Shaytan has a ta, and a shay has a lean before it, so shayta has to come properly. And when you said inna Allah, the ha was from the center. This is ha, which should come from down the chest. So inna Allah, not inna Allah is wrong. Ha, right? And yastahi should have that ha. Also, when you stopped at ba'udatan, you if you're stopping there, you say ba'udah. But if you are continuing, then it has to have it is not izhar, it is ikhfa. So it will be ba'udatan fama ba'udatan, not tan. Tan is izhar. So izhar will come only when you have 6 alphabets of hurf halki. Okay. So it should be ba'udatan. So that was another mistake. So just listen to some qari so that you are able to understand these small differences. So overall, alhamdulillah, was good. We will go to the next part of the ayah, and then the mosquito will inshallah discuss in detail and later. Our grammar part and thing is over, or if we want it in between also we can. وَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, amma, wa is and, but here they've written as but. So wow has multiple translations, and is one of them, but is another, while is another. So it could be translated as any which ways. But as for those who disbelieve, or and can also be put, and as for those who disbelieve, alladhina kafaru, fa yaqulun, fa then yaqulun, they will say, fa yaqulun, what will they say? ماذا أراد الله. ماذا, ma, what, ماذا is what, أراد, irada, intent, Allahu, Allah is intending. So Allah has a dhamma here, or a pesh here, because Allah is intending. Okay? ماذا أراد الله, what Allah intends. B is with Bismillah, with the name of Allah. بهذا, hada is this. Masala we already seen, example. أما الذين كفروا, but as for those who disbelieve, فيقولون, thus they will say, ماذا أراد الله, what Allah wills. بهذا مثلا, by this as an example. So here Allah Ta'ala is the people who disbelieving, they are going to say, what does Allah intend with this example? Or what a funny example of a mosquito. With that, what Allah intends, yudillu, dalla we have know is misguidance. Yudillu is misleading somebody else. So Allah Ta'ala is misleading somebody else. Yudillu bihi, with it. Yudillu bihi, misleads with it. Kathira, kathir, many. Kathira, many of them. Wa yahdi, hada yahdi, this is what we have done. And guides bihi, with it. Kathira, many. So with the same example, with one example itself, Allah Ta'ala guides many people and Allah Ta'ala misguides many people. First is coming of misguidance, because here the the second part of the talk is beginning with the kafaru. أَمَّا الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا فَيَقُولُونَ, so they will say, مَاذَا أَرَادَ اللَّهُ بِهَذَا مَثْلًا, what does Allah intend with this example? Then Allah Ta'ala is saying, يُضِلُّ بِهِ كَثِيرًا, Allah Ta'ala misleads with it many, وَيَهْدِي بِهِ كَثِيرًا, and He guides with the same thing many people. And then Allah Ta'ala is informing us on who are the people who are misled and are misguided. Wama yudillu, and does not mislead or does not misguide bihi, with it, that is with the examples that Allah is giving and with the Quran, illal fasiqeen, except for the fasiqeen. وَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, so as for those who disbelieve, فَيَقُولُونَ, so they will say, مَاذَا أَرَادَ اللَّهُ, what does Allah intend, بِهَذَا مَثَلًا, with this example, يُضِلُّ بِهِ كَثِيرًا, so He misleads with them many, وَيَهْدِي بِهِ كَثِيرًا, and He guides thereby many. وَمَا يُضِلُّ, and does not mislead or misguide bihi, with it, إِلَّا الْفَاسِقِينَ, except for those who are differently disobedient. Fasik is a person who is disobedient and he does not want to listen. Those types. Right, so who wants to now volunteer? Abu Mohsin Sahib, you are able to do it? Is it possible for you?
Yeah, I'll try.
Okay, Alhamdulillah, go ahead.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
MashaAllah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وأما الذين كفروا فيقولون ماذا أراد الله بهذا مثلا يضل به كثيرا ويهدي به كثيرا وما يضل به إلا الفاسقين. But as for الذين كفروا, those who disbelieve, فيقولون, thus they say, ماذا, what did Allah, ماذا أراد الله, what did Allah intend, بهذا مثلا, by this as an example, يضل به كثيرا, he misleads thereby many, ويهدي به كثيرا, and guides thereby many, وما يضل به, and he does not mislead by the إلا الفاسقين, the defiant, except the defiantly disobedient.
MashaAllah. Again, a lot of practice would be required for the tajweed, but whatever signs we are seeing, we try to be on them and try to vocate them properly. Like meme shadda and noon shadda will also always have a gunna on it. So وَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا فَأَمَّا, not amma. Amma means we are not doing that gunna there. So that should be 2 counts. وَأَمَّا. Also, Madha has got a mad there, so at this mad has to be pronounced because it is followed by a hamza. Madha, a ra has to be again with a full mouth. A ra, here Allah is being preceded by a zabar fatha, so Allah has to be pronounced. This is called lam jalala of Allah. So not Allah, Allah, Allah. It has to be with a full mouth. Madha aradallahu bihadha mathala. The seen, sod, and tha should be sounding completely different so that the person who's listening should be able to differentiate whether it is mathala, masala, or masala. So this is tha, so the tongue has to come out in matha. So once you get the pronunciations right, then inshallah it will be okay. Also, fasiqeen has got a qaf, so illal fasiqeen, qaf, not fasiqeen, not kaf. The kaf and the qaf has to be understood and heard properly. This is kaf and this is qaf. And when this is followed by ya, it will be qi, not fasikin. It will be fasiqin, qin, qin. So that sound has to come from the most behind part. Then only that qaf will be pronounced properly. We have discussed this before that if we are making this mistake of alphabets, the word itself can change completely. And if the word is changing, then the meaning of that will be completely different. We have seen the example of qalb and kalb. Kalb is dog and qalb means heart. And if you are reading it otherwise, then the meanings could be completely different. So that's why I try to get one alphabet right. Ain is the most difficult. The others have to be just focused on. We are used to reciting in a particular way and we don't want to change. But if you're focused, I would say read less, but read properly. That is important, right? So just try and focus on the reading part also. So let Allah make it easy for all of us to recite the way He wants. And the way of recital also is being transmitted directly by Jibreel alayhi salam to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that has been preserved till now. So this is the way how Jibreel alayhi salam had recited it, and we should try and do the same, inshallah. Right. So with this, we would go ahead. So وَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ. The first example is fa, and the second example is wa, and the first example is talking about amanu, and the second example is talking about kafaru. Okay, these are the two groups that are being spoken about. فَيَقُولُونَ مَاذَا أَرَادَ اللَّهُ بِهَذَا مَثَلًا يُضِلُّ بِهِ كَثِيرًا وَيَهْدِي بِهِ كَثِيرًا وَمَا يُضِلُّ بِهِ إِلَّا الْفَاسِقِينَ. So by the way, the mosquito has a complete flight system. Nanotech is copying it, and I'll give you examples of how the scientific world today is taking examples from the mosquito. Inshallah, very interesting. So I'll take you to that once we are done with the basic presentation. So believers know that it is the truth from their Rabb, because Allah does not give examples without any purpose. So the mosquito has a huge example in it. We'll see that once we take that part, inshallah, that will be more clear to us. The disbelievers raised objections without listening properly and thinking over the example. So I've discussed this before, that Allah Ta'ala has given His ayat, His signs all over, but it is we who have to ponder over those signs and be thankful to Allah and try to understand the reality of the world and the reality of the truth with the signs that Allah has given us. So if they had pondered the example, they would have surely got guidance from it. But sometimes the thing is, we take things for granted. We are having superficial knowledge, and sometimes we are already having prefixed ideas in our mind, because of which we do not want to change. And that's why giving example also will not make a difference. So mosquito is considered something very insignificant, but Allah Ta'ala is saying that Allah Ta'ala does not get ashamed of giving such example. So Fasik is the one who disobeys Allah differently. More details are given in the next ayah. We'll see that the next time, because this ayah has a lot of things to go. That is why you see so many non-Muslim scientists and doctors, or even among Muslims who look at the signs of Allah but are not guided towards Allah, and that is why they could become fasik or differently disobedient, because they do not. And the whole scientific world today is not presenting facts according to the kudrat of a superpower or a super creator. They are being just put in as facts, and people are taking it as that, and they don't think on how it has been designed to be in such a perfect way. Lack of hidayah can be attached to the degree of fisk. So even if we lack hidayat, we may not be able to pick up the signs that Allah Ta'ala wants us to pick up on how Allah Ta'ala, on how omnipotent Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is, and what are the powers of Allah. Okay. La yastahi is translated as what? He is not ashamed. You are not ashamed. They are not ashamed. We are not ashamed. Just put the answers in the chat boxes. La yastahi is what? La yastahi. Put the answer in the chat boxes so I know that you are awake and with me. Only one answer till now. Okay, this is simple. So he is not ashamed. Fawqaha. Fawqaha, above them, above it, above you, under them. We saw that ba'u, the tan had a ta in the end, so it is a feminine example, and that's why the ha is come here. But in English translation, it will be above it. Right? The ha becomes it here. Okay. Now I'm getting some answers. For ya'lamun, this is simple. For ya'lamun, for is thus. Ya'lamun, thus he knows. They knew, they know, thus they know. So ya'lamuna has a waw noon in the end, and it is a verb, so it is plural, it is present tense, and it is third person. And for is thus. So that is where the answer lies. Okay, so let me see what answers have come for this. Okay, yes, thus they know. Okay, thus they know. Mir rabbihim. So again, here is min, and rabbihim is following it. Again, whenever you are listening to it, when mir rabbihim is recited, you should know that this is min and rabbihim, and the noon is getting idgham or mixed with the ra. So mir rabbihim is from their Lord, from your Lord, from your Lord, from my Lord. Right? Rabbihim is third person and plural. So that is a good hint. Okay, so the answers come from their Lord. So Allah Ta'ala gave the example of what? A camel, a cockroach, a fox, and a mosquito. So the example of what? Camel. Yes, Allah Ta'ala is giving example of camel at another place. But here the example that is given is of a mosquito. Okay, this is fairly simple. This ayah they have done. So in this ayah, the example of the mosquito, Allah talks about two groups. Which are those two groups? The believers and the disbelievers, the munafiqeen and the disbelievers, believers and munafiqeen, Jews and Christians. So this is linked to the ayat that is there, وَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ and وَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ. There are two groups here. Who are they? Very simple answer. Are they the munafiqeen or they're believers and disbelievers? So Allah gives examples for what? What is the reason why Allah Ta'ala is giving examples? The answer could be more than one. To ponder on them, to visualize them, to understand them, or to receive admonition from them. Right? So first, you have to ponder on them, because it's the part of pondering over the Quran. Understand them and receive admonition from them as well. Right? So these are the reasons why Allah Ta'ala has given. So we'll take the full ayat meaning translation. Indeed, Allah is not ashamed to set forth an example even of a mosquito or anything above it. So here, above it would mean bigger than it or smaller than it. Then as for those who believe, they know that it is a truth from their Lord. But those who disbelieve say, what did Allah intend by such an example? He lets go astray many by it and guides many by it. May Allah Ta'ala make us from the people who are guided. And He does not let go astray by it except the definitely disobedient. So here, if we consider the fawqa for the masala, then it is the smaller version of it. Inshallah, when I have the presentation on mosquito, in that, inshallah, that thing will get a little more clear. So the lessons that we have is that Allah Ta'ala gives us examples to help us understand. Believers know that it is haqq from Allah, and then that is the reason they are able to understand these examples and they are able to take lessons from these examples. And the disobedient people get lost in it. So Allah Ta'ala, we pray that Allah Ta'ala should not make us from the disobedient. With this, there is a beautiful dua that is being given here. And this is what Allah Ta'ala informs us in Surah Hujurat as well. So the part of it is of Surah Hujurat, but here it is being put in the form of the dua. Allahumma habib ilayna al-iman. Oh Allah, endear or make more lovable to us iman. وَزَيَّنَهُ, and beautify it fi qulubina, in our hearts. وَكَرَّهُ ilayna, and make displeasing or hateful to us al-kufr, the disbelief, wal-fusuq, and being defiantly disobedient, wal-isyan, disobedience is isyan. وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الرَّاشِدِينَ, and make us from the guided ones. Right, so this is derived from the ayat which is there in Surah Hujurat. إِنَّ اللَّهَ حَبَّبَ إِلَيْكُمُ الْإِيمَانَ وَزَيَّنَهُ فِي قُلُوبِكُمْ وَكَرَّهَ إِلَيْكُمُ الْكُفْرَ وَالْفُسُوقَ وَالْعِصْيَانَ أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الرَّاشِدُونَ is the ayat. So here we are asking all those things and wanting to be away from the hateful things, and we are asking Allah Ta'ala to make us from the Rashidun, or the guided ones, inshallah.
Make it please in our hearts.
Ameen. So a sample plan, inshallah, I will try to ponder over the examples given by Allah. And believe me, there are so many examples. We have seen the example of the rain, we have seen the example of the fire, and what Allah Ta'ala wanted us to take from those examples, or we are just reading the translation and going ahead and not taking the examples or the heed from those examples. So Allah Ta'ala make us from those who get what Allah Ta'ala wants from those ayat. With this, we'll go to the asma and if'al and the verbs. So asma are the nouns. So in this, the first noun is mathala. Mathalun is an example, one example, and the plural of that is amthal. Amthal also has come in the Quran a lot of times. So mathlun, amthalun. This is example and examples, plural. Rab is, we already know, we have taken it many times. The plural of Rab is arbab. Arbab, or many Rabs. So Rab is basically a caretaker. We have seen the example of Rab and the various shades of what Rab is, and the plural of that is Arbab. Fasik is coming from the word fasaqa. Fasik is the active participle of it, fasik, and the plural is fasiquna and fasiqina. So alhamdulillah, the nouns are simple. Amthal, Arbab is on the similar format, plural. Right. So now coming to the words with sound alphabets, 3-letter words on the pattern of fa'ala, nasara, daraba, and sami'a. First example itself is daraba. So daraba is from the bab daraba itself. Daraba yadribu. So daraba yadribu idrib. Darib madrub darb. This is the whole key, the noun key and the verb key. The second word is faya'lamuna alima. Amila is on the pattern of sami'a. So sami'a alima. Alima, ya'lamu, i'lam. Alim, ma'lum, and ilm. Then the next word is kafara, kafaru. So kafara, yakfuru on the bab nasara. Kafara, yakfuru, ukfur, kafir, makfur, and kufr. Then we have fasaqa, which is on again on the bab nasara. Fasaqa, yafsuqu, ufsuk, fasik, and there's no passive participle, and fisk, that is disobedience, is fisk. And the plural of fisk is fusuq. Fusuq, we saw in the dua also, and in the ayat of Surah Hujurat also, fusuq word is there. Now I'm coming to the weak letters. We have seen this. Qala. Qala yaqulu qul, qa'il, maqul, and qawl. And hada is on the pattern of hadaya. Hada, yahdi, ihdi, hadin, mahdiyun, hudan, or hidayah. Both are verbal nouns. So verbal nouns can have a change. Right? So fi'l mudari, that is the present tense of fasaqa, is yafsuqu, yafsaqu, yafsiqu, or yafsaqun. Fi'l mudari fasaka is third person singular verb and we want the present tense of that. So what is the answer of this? Present tense of fasaka. You just saw it. It is bab nasara. That is a good enough clue. The answer is yafsuqu. Yafsuqu. Fi'l amr. That is order of qala is qalu, qala, yaqulu, qul. This is very simple. Put your answers in the chat boxes. Right, mashallah. All of you got it right. Kul is the order of qala. Mashallah. Right, so let's go ahead. Amthal, the singular of amthal is mathalun, amthalun, mathalun, and mathalun and mathalun. Right? So this is a little tricky because here we have a sukoon, mathlun, mathalun. Right? So what is the real word? We have seen it there, but we are used to in Urdu, so we might get confused. But mashallah, the answer is coming out right. So it is mathalun, mathalun, not mathalun. Normally in Urdu we are mathalun. So the Arabic word is mathalun, mathalun. There's a fatha on the tha. Okay, so that alhamdulillah completes the Quran part. I'm going over a little fast to the grammar part. We'll finish the grammar part and then inshallah we'll come to the example of the mosquito and the beauty of what that example is all about. Grammar also today is going to be simple. It is just a revision of the Nasara pattern of verbs. Right, so going ahead, we are on 4b. So we will be doing today revision of the words which are on the bab Nasara. We have seen this that Fataha, Nasara, Baraba, Samia are the sound verbs. And after that, we did the weak verbs also. Wahaba, Yahabu, order of that was Hab. Wa'ada, Ya'idu, order was Id. Qala, Yaqulu, order was Qul. Zada, Yazidu, order was Zid. Da'a, Yad'u, and Ud'u is the order of that. Hada, Yahdi, Ihdi. Dhanna, Yadhunnu, Dhunna was the order. Dalla, Yadillu, Dilla. Right, so that was the order. So these are small subtle differences. Here we have the pesh coming and Dalla will have a zabar coming. This is a short revision of whatever we have done. And with that, we would go and take the examples from the first 4 pages that we've done till now of the verbs that we are getting on the bab Nasara. Now this will also include the weak verbs. Okay, so Nasara, Yansuru, Unsur, Nasir, Mansur, Nasr. إذا جاء نصر الله نصر الله نصر. خلق يخلق أخلق. خالق مخلوق and خلق. This is خلق based on the pattern of Nasara. Next word is abada. Abada, ya'budu, u'bud, abid, ma'bud, ibadah. Right? So we have seen that in iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Abada ya'budu. Then zakara. Zakara yadhkuru udhkur. Zakir, madhkur, dhikr. Allahumma a'inni ala dhikrika wa shukrika wa husna ibadik. That is a dua that we make, and this is the dua we have seen this that was taught by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to Mu'adh ibn Jabal, and before that he said, "Oh Mu'adh, I love you," and then he taught him this particular dua. Whenever we are reciting it after the salah, we should remember the love that Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had for Mu'adh ibn Jabal, because of which he taught him this dua. Shakara is also on the Bab Nasara. So Shakara, Yashkuru, Ushkur, Shakir, Mashkur, and Shukr. Right? Shakara is he thanked, Yashkuru, he is thanking, Ushkur, order of thanking, Shakir, the one who thanks, Mashkur, the thing that is thanked about, and Shukr is thankfulness. Right. This is all revision. We don't have anything heavy in grammar today, but whatever we have done, just keep revising that because the small differences that are there should be picked up well and should not be missed. The three noun keys of yakhluqu are noun keys of yakhluqu are. So it will be active participle, passive participle, and verbal noun. Right? So khalaqa is a verb, yakhluqu is a verb, ukhluq is also a verb. Khaliq, makhluq, and khalq. Khalaqa, yakhluqu, yakhluqun, khaliq, makhluq, and yakhluq. We want all nouns. So what is the answer? Okay, good. So it is B, and it is khaliq, makhluq, and khalq. Simple. Shakara, same thing we do. We want the verb keys now. So past tense, present tense in order. Shakara, yashkuru, ushkur. Shakara, yashkuru, shukran is noun for verbs followed by nouns. Shakir, mashkur, shukr is going to be nouns. Shakir, mashkur, shakirun is again nouns. So it is shakara, yashkuru, and ushkur. So translated to Arabic, we worship. We worship. Budu, na budu, ta budun, abadna, abadna. Okay, so what is it? Translated in Arabic, we worship. So in this, try to pronounce your ain properly, and to join the ain with hamza is a little tricky, difficult. So join it with noon, that is a little easy. Saying na'budu is easier than saying a'budu. A'budu. So it starts with the hamza and ends with an ain. So practice with na'budu, then a'budu will become easier for you. Right? So na'budu, na'budu, then a'budu. If you start with a'budu, then it will become difficult. So practice with na'budu first and then come to a'budu. And remember, we are not supposed to give a jerk in this, no jhatka. Right? The ain should be from the throat, but it should be mixing seamlessly. Na'budu is what the answer that we're looking at. Tazkuru. Translate tazkuru. Translate the word tazkuru. Tazkuru is you will remember, you remembered, they remembered, and you remember. What is tazkuru? You will remember and you remember, because present tense has two things, present and future both. Okay, so some other words on the Bab Nasara, Yansuru, Unsur is dakhala, he entered, yadkhulu, he is entering, udkhul, enter, dakhil, the one who enters, madkhul, place of entering, dukhul, entrance. So you will have these in a lot of places. Entrance is marked as dukhul and exit as khuruj. Hasada, he envied. Yahsudu, he is envying. Sud, envy. Hasid, the one who envies. Mahsud, the person who is envied. Hasad is the act of envying. Min sharri hasidin iza hasad. Iza hasad. Whenever he does hasad. Iza hasad. We have seen these in the small ayah that we have taken in the course 1. Akala. Akala is to eat. Akala ya'kulu. Kul. Akala, he ate. Ya'kulu, he is eating. Kul is to eat. Again, the difference of qaf and kaf. If you say kul means to eat, and if you say kul means to say. So whenever you're reciting, it shouldn't be like kul. Kul means to eat, right? So that is why the difference of the pronunciation is extremely essential, so that the meaning stands out very clearly. Okay. So the order of qala yaqulu is also kul with the qaf, with the round mouth and full, and kul is lighter. So when you're saying kul, it means that eat. And if you're saying qul, it means say. Akala ya'kulu. Kul, akil. Akil is eater. Okay, the one who eats, akil, and aqil is different. That's why qaf and kaf should be pronounced properly. Ma'kul is the thing that is eaten up, right? We have seen that in Fil, Suratul Fil. Asfim ma'kul, as if they've eaten up corn. And aklun is the process of eating. Wa kulu washrabu is order. Kulu, kul, kulu, right? So kulu and kulu is again going to be different. So the qaf and kaf pronunciation should be proper. Amara, he ordered. Ya'muru, he's ordering. Mur, order. Amir, the person who orders. That's why you have to follow the person who's ordering something. Amir is the one who orders something, so you have to follow. That's why Amir. Ma'mur, the thing that is obeyed. And Amrun is the matter. وَيَقْطَعُونَ مَا أَمَرَ اللَّهُ, and they cut what Allah Ta'ala has ordered. Amar Allah. Amar Allah who? Because Allah is the person who is the active participant. Taraka. Taraka means to leave. Chhod dena, leave something. Taraka yatruku utruk. Tarik, the one who leaves. Matruk, the thing that is left. And tarak, to leave away. وَتَرَكَهُمْ فِي ظُلُمَاتٍ, and he left them in the darkness. Taraka, chhod diya unko. Left them in the darkness. Okay. So taraka. These are all revision of the verbs that we have seen. Dakhalu, translation of dakhalu is you all entered, they entered, or they will enter. Okay, they entered and they will enter. Watarakahum. So it is tarakahum, past tense singular verb, and it is joined with the hum, right? Watarakahum, and he left him, and he left them, he left them, and they left him. So taraka is third person, the action is being on third person, and hum is also third person. So they, hum, he left them. Taraka, he left hum, them, right? So the answer is going to be B. And he, wataraka, left hum, them. Because if there's a wa also there, that's why the answer is B. Yadkhuluna, dakhala yadkhulu, yadkhuluna, they all enter. Fi in dinillahi. Here Allah will be pronounced light, not Allah. Dinillah, dinillah. Yadkhuluna fi dinillah. They are entering in the religion of Allah. You are entering in the religion of Allah. He is entering in the religion of Allah. We are entering in the religion of Allah. So this is yadkhulu, we know, is third person plural. So they all are entering in the religion of Allah. Alhamdulillah. So some other words also with the weaker hamza hamzated verbs on the bab nasara is akhadha. Akhadha means to take, which is pakad lena. Akhadha ya'khudhu khudh. Akhidh, the one who takes, taker. Ma'khuz, the thing that is taken. Akhzun, the process of being taken. La ta'khudhuhu. La ta'khudhuhu does not take sinatun, even a slumber, right? Does not overtake him, does not take control of him. Then khalada, he was there forever. Khalada yakhludu ukhlud. Khalid dash and khulud. Khulud is the eternity. Razaqa, he gave risk. Yarzuku, he is giving risk. Urzuk, you give risk. Razik, the person who gives risk. Marzuk, the thing that is given as risk. Rizqun is the verbal noun. Same as sajada. Sajada means he prostrated. Yasjudu, he is prostrating. Usjud, prostrate. Sajid, the one who prostrates. Masjud, the thing that is prostrated. Sujud, the process of doing sajda. Fasjudu illa. Fasjudu, they all prostrated illa iblis, except iblis. Inshallah, that will come as we go ahead. Sakana, sakana. Sakana yaskunu means to stay with peace. Sukun, sukun has come from that. Sakana yaskunu uskun. This is also in Bab Nasara. Sakana yaskunu uskun. Sakin dash and sukun. Ya Adam uskun. Uskun has come from sakana yaskunu uskun. Ya Adam uskun anta wa zawjukal jannah. Sakana yaskunu uskun. Okay. these are the verbs and the words that we have seen. Last time we have seen all the words in these first 5 pages from Fataha. Today we have seen the words on the pattern of Nasara in all the 5 pages. Inshallah, Daraba and Sami'a will follow as we go ahead. Okay, so now we'll have some practice of conversation with all these so many words. So somebody can help me with this. I will say the question and maybe Qazi Sahab can do it. He does it well. Hal shakarta Allah.
نعم شكرت الله.
Shakartu Allah. Shakartu,
نعم شكرت الله.
Yeah, because this is a speaking between two persons. I will ask the second person in the second person form, and the answer will come from the first person. So her and both Allah will be with a pur. Har shakartullah. Naam shakartullah. Okay, let's go to the next. Al shakartumullah.
نعم شكرنا الله. نعم شكرنا الله.
Yes, you have to mix the noon idgham with the lam. So naam shakarnallah. Shakarnallah. So you have to get used to listening. The whole idea of practicing these words are that when you're listening, it should strike you immediately that this is second person and this is first person and this is plural and this is singular, right? As soon as the sound comes, shakara you will identify, but that na is making all the difference. So you should be able to pick up that fast. Hal shakartullah, naam shakartullah. Hal shakartumullah, naam shakarnallah. هل تشكر الله؟
نعم أشكر الله.
أشكر الله. Yes, I thank Allah. Right, so we should all thank Allah. Nashkurullah. Inshallah, that will be the next one. Hal tashkurun Allah. So I'm asking all the people who are in the Zoom meeting. Hal tashkurun Allah. So all of you all can read this and say loudly with even
نعم
with the mics.
نشكرullah.
Naam nashkurullah.
نعم
Right?
نشكرullah.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. So
نعم نشكرullah.
naam nashkurullah. Alhamdulillah. Ushkurillah.
Ashkurullah.
Right, so now we have ushkuri. Why we have re here is because Allah is having an al here, and that is why it is becoming ushkuri. The order is ushkur with a sukun.
Ushkurillah.
Ushkurillah. But when you're saying it with Allah, you will not say ushkur Allah, you will say ushkurillah. Right? Ushkurillah. So now this Allah will become not Allah, Allah, ushkurillah, because there's a zair which is for it. That's why the pronunciation of Allah will be flat, Allah. In all the other examples, it was Allah. And the answer will be with a pur. So, ushkurillah, ashkurullah.
Ashkurullah.
Ashkurullah. That way. So, try to keep that also in mind so that your makharij and tajweed also get better. And ushkurullah.
Nashkurullah.
Right. So here the difference is only first person. I'll just highlight that it looks very similar, but you have to be very this thing. Here is ashkurullah without a vowel. I thank Allah, and here it's an order. Ushkurullah for plural. Right. Here it was ushkurillah because it's a singular ushkur. When it is plural, it will be ushkurullah. So don't confuse this with this. And remember that here we have a pesh indicating that this is an order followed by a vowel. And here it is a zabar for the first person. This does not change anytime. Okay. So they might look similar sometimes when you're seeing, but if you highlight these differences, then it will be a little clear to you. So ushkurullah is an order to thank Allah. And the answer that is going to be nashkurullah. I thank, or we all thank Allah. So the differences are very subtle, and that is what the whole idea of this class is, to highlight these differences so that these small things become easy. The Arabs, it is native for them, so it is easy for them. For us, it gets very confusing because they all look similar and we get confused on what the words are. Right? So that's the whole reason why we are doing all these exercises. Now we'll take the word dakhala. Hal dakhalta, did you enter?
Naam, dakhaltu.
It could be, did you enter Islam? Hal dakhalta al-Islam? Naam, dakhaltu al-Islam. Right. So, hal dakhaltum? Did you all enter?
نعم دخلنا.
Hal tadkhulu? Are you entering?
نعم أدخل.
Adkhulu. Dal will have a kalkala now because it is having a sukun. So, hal tadkhulu? Naam,
نعم
adkhulu.
أدخل.
هل تدخلون؟
نعم ندخل.
ادخل.
أدخل.
ادخلوا.
ندخل.
So we need to keep practicing this so that this sounds become familiar to our ears, and whenever we heard them, we are able to clearly differentiate that what it is. So here also you see the importance of tajweed and makharij comes again here. You see this is adkhulu, and here it is udkhulu. This wow, this has to be 2 counts. Only then the differentiation is clear. So if somebody is reading fast and it just reads as udkhulu, then it would be confusing with adkhulu and udkhulu, right? So udkhulu, there has to be 2 counts. Adkhulu, 1 count of the lam. Okay, so these are the rules which we have read, but when we read, sometimes you don't follow. But if you're not following, it could lead to a change in meaning of a singular, plural, or order becomes a first person or something like that. So we don't want those errors to happen. Now we'll take the word akala to eat. Everybody's happy in eating and interested in eating. So the question is being asked, hal akalta?
نعم أكلت.
Right, so you can add, say, futur means breakfast is called futur in Arabic, and from that word, the evening breakfast is called iftar, the same word, right? So hal akalta al futur?
نعم أكلت الفطور.
MashaAllah. So everybody's had their breakfasts. So I'll ask all of you now, hal akaltumul futur?
نعم أكلنا الفطور.
MashaAllah. So here it was, if it is nothing is there, it will be akaltum. But now I added al futur. So I said hal akaltumul futur. I added a pesh, right? Because the al is coming, and we know by the rules of recitation that when 2 sukuns come, then that word is not read. Are you understanding what I'm saying, or it is confusing? I'll write it so that you understand why we are adding that pesh to it. So here the word is hal akaltum. Now if I'm adding al,
الفطور.
if I'm adding futur,
It should be toy.
oh yeah, sorry, jazakallah. Right, the point I was getting is now if I say hal akaltum al futur, so this has got a sukun, this has got nothing, and this has got a sukun. So all these 3 will not be read. And if this is not read, then it will be read as hal akaltu, hal akaltu. That becomes first person. Okay, that is the reason a wow is added. Hal akaltumul futur. Okay. So that is the addition of pesh. Jazakallah for that Tor reminder. So how word meaning changes, right? So hal ta'kulu. Hal ta'kulu. Did you eat? Naam akulu. Akulu should be akulu. Right? That yes, I ate.
آكل.
Hal ta'kulun.
نعم نأكل.
MashaAllah. Naam na'kulu. Kul.
آكل.
Akulu. Right?
آكل.
So yes. So now if I say kul, then what will be the answer? If I say
آكل.
no. If I say qul with a qaf, then what is the answer?
أقول.
Aqulu. Aqulu. Qala yaqulu, first person is aqulu. Okay. Understood the difference?
No, not أقول, but أقول.
Aqulu. Aqulu qawli haza. I say this. Aqulu. Right? So if the word is qaf, if I say qul, then the answer will be aqulu. Now this is kul, that's why it is akulu. Right? So the answer is going to be different. Because here we had the root words are akala, yakulu, and that's why it is akulu. Okay, and if it is with af, then it will be qul means to say, and the first person of say is going to be aqulu because that is on bab, no sara. Right, so that is why we are learning these root words and weak words because these weak words are different. Kulu, Naqulu is the answer. So now
Na-
the qulu, the qulu of with qaf, it is qaf, waw, qu and lu, right? But here it is only one. Qulu. And here it is, answer is naqulu.
Na-
And if it is qulu, then I'll just write it so you'll know what I'm saying. Otherwise, it'll get confusing for a lot of people. This is eat, and we are ordering somebody to eat. But if I have to tell somebody to say, it will be a qaf, wow.
Qulu.
That wow will be added. Okay. Ulu.
Qulu.
Ulu. Right? If I say the kulu, then the answer is going to be
Naqulu.
naqulu. Okay. Same way, it would be aqulu. Instead of naqulu, it will be aqulu. I hope this is clear. Okay. So that's why the difference of kaf and kaf is important for us. Okay. So we'll go ahead with this. Now we'll take the word akhadha, means to take. Akhaz karna, which is le lena. Hal akhadhta,
Naam. Akastu.
hal akhadhtum.
Naam. Akhazna.
هل تأخذ.
Naam. Akhuzu.
No, it should be آخذ, not آخذ. Don't need that A. نعم آخذ.
Naam. Akhuzu.
MashaAllah, that's right. هل تأخذون.
Naam. Na'khuzu.
خذ.
Akhuz.
أخذوا. The word is same as نعم آخذ. Okay. And خذوا.
Na'khuzu.
So word أخذ has the order as خذ. Like قال أقل had قل. Same pattern. And both are on Bab Nasara. Okay. هل أمركم الله. Did Allah order you all? Answer is going to be, it is plural and it is past tense and being said to second person. What is the answer? Let the answers come. It is Naam Amarna Allah. Yes, Allah Ta'ala ordered us. Right. So now we'll take the verb taraka, means to leave. Hal tarakta.
Naam. Taraktu.
Taraktu. Again, to highlight the difference between qaf and kaf, we know that when we have, I'll just write that down also so that pronunciation wise also you get a little clear. When we have qaf with a sukoon, we do kalkala on it. Okay. So like we have haqqa, right? But when we have kaf with a sukoon, we'll do hams on it. And hams is like tarak, ta. And this ta also, if it has sukoon, it'll get a hams, right? So that is called hams. So the kaf has got a hams and a qaf has got a qalqala. That is the difference in sukoon. So whenever you are saying it with the sukoon, you'll be able to differentiate the two. So it will be hal tarakta, naam taraktu. And if there was a qaf, it will be a qalqala there. Okay? Tarak, yeah. So the sound will come like kha. So like when we are saying Allahu Akbar is not Allahu Akbar. It will be Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. So it has a little effect of kha, but don't pronounce it as kha. It is just that sound has to be a little bit flowing. So that's why it will be Allahu Akbar. Tarakta. Tarakta. Right? So this is how the right pronunciation is. So if you understand this, then the pronunciation becomes easy and you will be inshallah al tarakta. So we'll go to the next one, and in that we can practice again. Hal taraktum.
Naam. Tarakna.
MashaAllah. So it sounds that if it's a kha, but it is a kaf only, and that is the right way to pronounce it. Hal tasjudu lillahi. Hal tas. Judu, there should be a sukun here. There is by mistake of fatha is put. Hal tasjudu lillah.
نعم أسجد لله.
MashaAllah. So here Allah will be flat. Whenever the lam comes before that, Allah is flat. Hal tasjudu lillahi. Now if it was Allah, then it will still be because it's not an order. Okay. Hal tasjuduna lillahi.
نعم نسجد لله.
هل تسجدوننا هل تحسدوننا. Do you envy us? Do you all envy us? حسد يحسد. حسد يحسد. هل تحسدوننا. Answers are لا تحسدوننا. No. The question is being asked to second person. So the answer is going to be first person. لا نحسدوك. نحسدوك. لا نحسدوكم. ما حسدناكم. The question we ask is هل تحسدون. Do you all do hasad na with us? The answer is going to be na. We all don't do hasad with you. So it will be na la nahsudukum. لا نحسدكم. هل الذكر عبادة. is ذكر عبادة. هل الذكر عبادة. نعم هو عبد. نعم هو ذاكر. نعم هو يعبدون. نعم الذكر عبادة. This is simple. The question has the answer in itself. Waiting for the answers. Waiting for more answers. نعم الذكر عبادة. Alhamdulillah. So with this, the book has all the list of the verbs that we have done. Just go back and write them again. Try to understand the differences between the order and the present tense past tense words of akhaza, amara, akala, and so on. Right. So with this, we have time, and I had made a small presentation for the mosquito, and inshallah that will be interesting. So I'll take that. It's not a refined one, but at least I think the message will sort of go across. Okay, so unbelievable facts about the mosquito. There are 15 amazing facts about the mosquito. Right, so they have been there since the Jurassic period, and almost 210 million years old. So the example that Allah Ta'ala is giving, Allah Ta'ala is, everybody will feel mosquito is such a non-specific thing. But these are the things about the mosquito, so that will increase our faith on why Allah Ta'ala has given this example. And if we learn more, it is a research by itself that we can do. But a little bit I did in the morning, so I thought I'll share all this with you. So it is the oldest, or till from the dinosaur period. Mosquito is considered as the world's deadliest animal. It is such a small animal, but it is considered the deadliest on the earth. Why? Because it causes the maximum number of deaths all over the world. Now corona has come, and now corona is the number one cause of deaths. But before the corona epidemic, the mosquito-related diseases, infectious diseases, was the number one cause of deaths all over the world. We have seen the example that Allah Ta'ala is given is ba'udah, which is feminine mosquito or a female mosquito. So only a female mosquito sucks the blood. Male and female mosquitoes feed on fruit and plant nectar, but males do not suck blood, and females suck blood because they have to lay eggs. But there are more than 3,500 species of mosquitoes in the world, and Anopheles is the most commonly one, which is responsible for carrying diseases and encephalitis. I'll come to the disease part of it also. They have about 42 teeth. They are not really teeth. They are like saws in their proboscis. Inshallah, I'll show the images of that. A female mosquito can lay up to 300 eggs at a time. So after sucking the blood and gaining the protein from the blood, it is able to lay eggs, and almost 300 eggs at one time, right? After that, it still is living, and it can still give more eggs. in its whole life cycle, which lasts almost 5 to 6 months. A male would die in about a week's time, but the females go on to live, and they live for almost 5 to 6 months. Some mosquitoes do not bite. Okay, so that is okay. Mosquitoes' wings beat up to 300, 600 times per minute. Just imagine the speed with which the mosquito is flapping its wings. It is 300 to 600 times per second. In 1 second, 600 times the wings are beating. So just imagine the speed at which the wings are beating. Mosquitoes flies at a speed between 1 to 1.5 miles per hour. The speed that the mosquito has, we consider it such insignificant thing. We can't fly, but the mosquitoes can fly. An adult mosquito, as I told you, may live for about 5 to 6 months. Mosquitoes can detect carbon dioxide from 75 feet away, and that's how they detect human beings and animals. And that is a signal that they can receive. So they are such sensors that they can sense temperatures. So mosquitoes usually fly below 25 feet because most of the animal kingdom is in the lower part only. Deadly mosquito saliva. Mosquito saliva is somehow as deadly as rat poison. We'll see how that happens. Mosquitoes feed day and night. Some species of mosquitoes are day biters, but some are night biters. They have X-ray machines in the insects. They are like X-ray machines because they are able to scan with the temperatures. Okay, so the Quranic account of the mosquito, which is also different from that of all other animals, is the only animal which is mentioned with an emphatic denial. That Allah Ta'ala is not ashamed to give the example even of a mosquito. We just saw this ayah. So how could Allah tell about such an insignificant thing? So what it means is it is not insignificant, and the creation of Allah and the omnipotence of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala is exemplified in this particular ayah. Right? So we have seen this ayah, so I'll not go through it again. Mosquito-borne diseases, as I said, nearly 700 million people get mosquito-borne diseases, and they are leading to almost 1 million deaths. So before Corona, the number one cause of deaths all over the world was mosquito. And of the diseases that are transmitted by it are malaria, dengue, West Nile fever is not so common in India, chikungunya, yellow fever was a big problem before, filariasis is still there in India, filaramia, dirophilariasis, Japanese encephalitis is not so common in India. So these are the whole range of diseases which people call Zika fever. We know that it causes encephalitis and brain problems in children. Rift Valley fever. Beauty is again, HIV is not transmitted by mosquitoes. Even if an HIV infected person's blood is sucked by a mosquito and maybe the mosquito bites somebody else, this is the qudrat of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Blood-borne diseases are transmitted. Other diseases are transmitted. HIV, we are so worried about blood transmission, but mosquitoes do not transmit HIV. So this again has an ayat in itself. These are all the list of diseases. I'll not go through that because it will get difficult for a lot of people. So why do we feel it is insignificant? Because it's just 6 millimeter long and weighing just 2.5 milligrams, right? Just this 2.5 milligrams, we'll see what phenomenal things it has got. So the female part we saw is the one responsible for the bites and the things. This is a simple life cycle of how an adult female would suck blood and then lay eggs in an array, and then each thing becomes a larva and a pupa, and then comes out as a mosquito again. This is the electron microscope photograph of an egg, a single egg. See how beautifully Allah Ta'ala has designed that hexagonal pattern with small kind of proteins coating that larva. So this photograph by itself is amazing. So I thought of putting it. Now in the larval stage, just see the parts of the body and how it is designed. The interesting part is just see this anal segment. Now this is what this larva is going to eat, and it is going to excrete it out through the anal thing. It's got valves there also. It is such a small creature and it's got valves. So if it doesn't want to emit anything out, it will not emit it out. Also, it has got these anal segment and anal brush. So after having passed whatever it wants to pass out from the anus, it has a brush which will sort of cleanse itself. Again, a phenomenal thing. It has got anal gills, anal brush, anal segment, and an anal comb also. Right? This is just a pictorial diagram that has been drawn. This is the actual photograph of the larval stage of the mosquito, wherein you can see this kind of hair and how its body is. This is the full mosquito for us, and this is its proboscis. We'll see the detail of that. These are through antennae, by which it will sense before it sits. It will sense the temperature is right or not. It will know where to go. A lot of times when people have to collect blood and his skin is a little thick, the doctor would find it very difficult to get out blood from such veins. The mosquito is an expert in that, and we'll see how it is doing it, and how beautifully and how painlessly it is doing it. The pain comes only after it has done its job. Okay, that is because of the body recognizes that there's something foreign, but till that blood is sucked, the person doesn't realize. After that irritation comes, then only the person realizes that there's a mosquito bite. Okay, so uh, okay, so mosquito has this biomechanical thermal system, biomechanical electromechanical system, which is used for painlessly penetrating human skin and sucking the blood. So it is penetrating the skin, and then it is removing the blood. And it is phenomenal how people have actually seen and how the mosquitoes proboscis cuts into the tissue with these 48 sharp teeth, and it goes in and it doesn't come out, it just fixes there. I'll show you some photographs of that. There are a lot of things on YouTube. You can go back and see that. I don't want to show videos here, so this is how it does. So first part will just cut the skin slowly. It will put it on the side. There's a sheath which is covering the whole thing. So it has got the 6 kind of needles that it will use. So first it will anesthetize the skin, then it will cut the skin so that the pain is not there, and then the other needles start coming in. These are the 6 types of needles that the tip of the proboscis, which is the needle that the mosquito pokes inside us, has got. Outer thing is the labium, and then there are the mandible, the maxilla, the hypopharynx, which are the parts, but they're actually like 6 needles, and these have about 48 teeth that we say. This is the electron microscopy photograph of the tip of the proboscis, and then one part will come out of this, and then we'll cut the skin. It is phenomenal. I've just taken some things, but if you do your own research, it is a subject which should take almost a week for you to study. This is again the proboscis and how it is, and just see the compound eyes. So it has got 100 lenses. These one dot that you're seeing is about 100 lenses that the eyes of the mosquito has, and these focus, and then they combine the full image and then gives it to the brain. So these are called compound eyes, and from this there have been drones which have been designed with this kind of a mechanism for imaging a wider area and with a single image. So we are learning from the mosquito. Allah Ta'ala says that Allah Ta'ala Inna Allah la yastahyi an yadriba mathalan ma ba'udatan fama fawqaha. We'll come to that, what fawqaha is. This is the complex eye, and now with this kind of imaging, the artificial intelligence is using same type of lenses, hundreds of them, and creating images. So we are learning from the mosquito, right? In fact, we are learning from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's knowledge that Allah Ta'ala has given us to study this kind of mosquito. Again, how it knows about the people is that such a small insect is able to identify it by the carbon dioxide and this particular chemical octane-3-OL, which is a mushroom alcohol, which is produced in our breaths. So with that, our sweats smells differently, and because of the carbon dioxide proportions in our sweat and in our breaths, the mosquitoes knows that this is a human being, and they have their own likings and dislikings. They would, if there are 2 people in the same room, some will be bitten more always. Unfortunately, I am of that. If there are 3, 4 people in the room, I am the one the mosquito will bite most. So there's something which they find more attractive, or the temperatures maybe, or something like that. We will come to this proboscis, which is also another thing. This is the heart of the mosquito, and how it's got 3 hearts. One is for its body, and 2 are on its wings, where they keep pumping the blood, their kind of blood. So this is the proboscis, or the tip of the proboscis, which has got 6 elements. And first there'll be one cut, and then they will put that saliva, which will be like anesthesia, and then it will go inside. It will find the vein. It will go into the vein. Then it will inject another thing which will not allow the blood to clot. And then it will suck this blood and seal it. So it's a phenomenal thing. One mosquito bite itself is such a huge ibra if we just try to understand how it is being done. And the saliva of the mosquito, what it does, it causes reduces the vasoconstriction, and it allows the blood vessels to dilate, and it stops the blood clotting and the platelets from stopping the blood, and then it pierces and aspirates. And that is a time when it could transmit these diseases and viruses into the body, right? So the other thing is, the most strange discovery by modern science is that there's another very small microscopic insect living on top of this mosquito. So I didn't translate it that time, but Allah Ta'ala says, Fama fawqaha, and what is above it. So this is a mosquito, and if you can see, there is another small one. This is called a midget, and these biting midgets, once this mosquito has sucked the blood from the humans, these small ones do not have the capacity to suck blood from humans, so they will suck it from the mosquito's abdomen. And they sit this picture is showing it's on this side, but they sit on above the mosquito and suck the blood that the mosquito has already sucked from the humans. This discovery was done by Edwards in 1922, and this maybe is what is meant when Allah Ta'ala says Fama fawqaha, but most people have translated it as whatever is smaller than that. So when you're giving an example, and if you want to give a bigger example than that, then you give a smaller thing. So with that, we can also consider that maybe it is a small bacteria and small viruses, and maybe now the coronavirus also is the smallest thing and much, much more smaller than the mosquito, and how it has created havoc, and how that protein is also designed, and how that small coronavirus also lives, right? So this is another example of fawqaha, on what is above it. So this is how it differentiates. It has got an X-ray kind of a system where it ultravioletly knows that the temperature is infrared camera kind of a thing, where it knows that the temperature is high, and it is able to gauge the person's sitting in that room. So it has got, as I told you, that it has a small anesthetic to insert its thorns without feeling any pain. So when the first prick is coming, we don't feel the pain. Only after the blood is sucked, then we start feeling there is something, and then the body will respond and we'll get that red mark. Okay, so it has an instrument for the blood test, because as I told you, it doesn't like all bloods, so it will take only the blood that it likes, and then suck it. And it has a special mechanism to speed up the blood flow, right? So that was a little bit of description on the mosquito. And I have a few more images. I don't know if they are not being seen now. Anyways, so this
You
is a
can
little
share
bit
it
of mosquito.
if
Yeah,
you
no,
want.
yeah.
Can you share this PPT?
Yeah, inshallah, I'll share the PPT, no problem.
It's a big.
It's a huge thing. But see, you can just go on Google, and there are a lot of what if gathered is just maybe not even
scientific knowledge.
But the fact that Allah Ta'ala has given the example of mosquito, there is tremendous to learn. So now with this proboscis that I showed you, it has 6 kind of things, and how it does the sucking of the blood. There are new micro needles that have been designed according to this system. We are actually scientists are learning from the mosquito on how to suck blood out of the veins. So very interesting, and the knowledge that Allah Ta'ala's knowledge is above everything. And inshallah, I'll share this PPT. I'll refine it a little bit, because I was doing the search in the morning itself, and I just put everything at one place. But it is something which you can do an individual study on, and it is something which is really phenomenal. But again, when you read that scientific knowledge, and if you don't have the hidayah with you, you will just take it as knowledge, and okay, this is there, this is there, this is there. But we have to just think over it on what Allah Ta'ala and how Allah Ta'ala has designed it. It's a simple thing. Like I was wondering on the fact that we are always, as doctors, worried about transmitting HIV from one patient to the other because of blood or any secretions that the patients could have. But here, this mosquito, it has been proven that mosquitoes do not transmit HIV. So it's such a huge thing, you know. So
Knowledge.
it is how Allah Ta'ala designs things, and
Yes.
how you can sort of think over it and take ibrat from it. But if you don't think over it, you'll say, okay, this is just knowledge. This is scientific knowledge. But that is what is meant in this ayah today, where Allah Ta'ala is giving an example and telling us that the people who go away are the ones who are disobedient. So we should pray to Allah Ta'ala to make us from the obedient, and to take lessons from the examples that Allah Ta'ala has given in the Quran. The Quran has n number of examples. Inshallah, as we go ahead, we'll take one by one. Even the example of the rain and the fire, each ayat has got a message for us. We have to just open our eyes to those messages and try to see what Allah Ta'ala is wanting to tell us with these examples. We have seen already in the rain on what was the message, in the fire what was the message, and here now in the mosquito what is the message. We may not understand and comprehend the whole thing, but the fact that Allah Ta'ala has given first a challenge, reading a surah like this, and then the next challenge is of the mosquito. Another place Allah Ta'ala says, if this mosquito takes something away from you, you'll not be able to know. So when the initial part, when the mosquito is sucking the blood from us out, we don't even realize it. We realize it when the sucking is already over. And then once we want to hit it, the mosquito is already flown away, and we are not even able to, take care of our own blood. So, and again, when it is gone, there is no blood mark on the place where it is bit. It is just swelling around. There's no blood there. So, what a beauty of how it is designed. Alhamdulillah. Right. So with this, we have I've sort of completed today's session and the targets that I had of sharing this presentation also. Any questions regarding the grammar part? The grammar also was more or less a revision. So just let us take the example of the mosquito and try to understand that better, and try to understand all the examples that Allah Ta'ala has given in the Quran. Right. So any questions for today? I think it is all clear because more or less it was a revision.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
हाँ, आप वो भेजने वाले थे सर, वो कुछ मदीना का टेप मखरज सही करने के लिए मिली है?
हाँ, नहीं मकरज सही करने के लिए हाँ, मदीना का भेजने वाला इंशाल्लाह। या आई विल सेंड वो टेलीग्राम में है, तो आप लोगों को टेलीग्राम डाउनलोड करना पड़ेगा आपके इस पे, आपके फोन्स पे। जैसे कि व्हाट्सएप एक मैसेजिंग सिस्टम है, वैसे टेलीग्राम एक मैसेजिंग सिस्टम है, वो आप लोग डाउनलोड कर लीजिए। उसका लिंक मैं आपको जो है व्हाट्सएप पर भेजता हूँ, तो उसके बाद इंशाल्लाह आप लोग डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं। तो एटलीस्ट जो छोटी छोटी सूरह पढ़ते हैं, तो वो इंशाल्लाह आप लोग की अच्छी हो सकती है उसमें
इंशाअल्लाह।
जज़ाकल्लाह। रिमाइंड कर मैं व्हाट्सएप पे इंशाल्लाह शेयर करता हूँ आज ही।
जज़ाकल्लाह खैर।
Any other comments or any other questions?
From first ayat to last, we have La Raiba Fihi, we said.
Yeah.
On all these examples, strengthen our iman. That is
Yes.
the thing, no? Correct?
Correct.
There is no doubt from in every word of the Quran.
Absolutely. No, but there it is being
And
said
we
that
have to
understand
believe
we have to open
each
our
word.
eyes, and we have to open our eyes to it. The fact that Allah Ta'ala has given that example, there is definitely a challenge that Allah Ta'ala has given us. It is mosquito is considered a very
So
non-specific.
that is for the disbeliever and disobedience.
Yes,
But for Iman,
yes, for
Iman,
the people who have
people
Iman,
with
inshallah.
Iman,
Yes.
this will come automatic.
Correct. So in
They
fact,
have-
when these
and-
ayat were revealed, the disbelievers were like, what is this example? And that's why Allah Ta'ala has clarified their statements also. That what they would be discussing in Quran mein kya example, Bachar ka example diya. Now they wouldn't have realized how fascinating or how a mosquito is designed. So the amount of complexity such a small organism has is phenomenal. So now with science we have reached that, but as Allah Ta'ala is saying, fama fawqaha. So whatever is smaller than that also, even smaller examples than that, and that's with that
Above
all
it.
the other things come. Yeah, above it has two meanings. One is whatever is above it means that whatever is smaller than that is what is the classical translation, which fits perfectly. But the example that I gave you of the small organism which is sitting on the belly of the mosquito and sucking the blood from the mosquito itself, right? Which was discovered only in 1922 by one scientist called Edward. So that is also one of the sort of, you can consider, the miracles of the Quran, which Allah Ta'ala is. Now at that time they were not able to understand because they didn't have microscopes to analyze or such high resolution cameras to pick up the small organisms or small parasites which are sitting on top of the mosquito. We are seeing it now, and that's why the words of the Quran are very specific, and when the knowledge opens, then maybe more clarity comes to it and we understand it better.
All these examples, all these examples, for us also, it is a source of increasing and strengthening our iman.
Definitely.
When we ponder over it.
Yes, absolutely. You have to ponder on these examples and try to gain ibrat from them, gain lessons from them on the goodness of Allah and the omnipotence of Allah, and how Allah Ta'ala is capable of doing such complex things, you know. So with this, we can understand it is not just that it has just happened by itself, like what naturists believe, or what they say, that it has just happened by itself and mosquitoes have been created by itself. So Allah Ta'ala is challenging them that, like, see, even today nobody can create a mosquito. They will have to take the eggs from the mosquito, they'll have to take genes from the mosquito, and then maybe they can do something. But creating mosquito out of nothing is not possible. That is the challenge Allah Ta'ala has given. And in other places also, Allah Ta'ala is saying that, can you create what like Allah creates? When Allah creates, He creates something which creates itself again and again. Right? This is a live example in front of us, where Allah Ta'ala has given an example of a small, insignificant, so to say, insect. But we know that it is number one cause of death. So everybody is studying the mosquito for that reason. And that is why we are able to, so there are so many organisms, and Allah Ta'ala has created so many systems and so many organisms with so many facilities and things like that. But why is the mosquito studied so much? Because it is affecting humans, right? So that's why Allah Ta'ala is saying there that don't consider it insignificant. It is my creation. And with that, Allah Ta'ala would do whatever people he wants. So as we have seen in Surah Al-Mudaththir, وَلَا يَعْلَمُ جُنُودَ رَبِّكَ إِلَّا هُ. So you don't know the armies of Allah Ta'ala except He, right? So mosquito is maybe one of the armies of Allah Ta'ala, and if He wants to punish some people, He can do it that way. And as I said, that it was before Corona time, this was the number one cause of deaths all over the world. So Allah Ta'ala has His own ways. And now we know with Corona that there's one virus which you can't even see is created such a havoc in the whole world.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
As you said, the army of Allah is one of the armies of mosquitoes. So Namrud was also killed by, I said, mosquito.
Yes. Right. So that's what. So see, that's what I said. So many people. Namrud is one of Allah's creation, like so many. The maximum number of deaths, as I said before Corona, was with transmitted diseases in which mosquito was one of the vectors. So with that we can understand on what the power of the creation is. So there are some see, our human body is a very subtle and organized thing, wherein if there is a small change, just a small change, say for example the ratio of your potassium and sodium changes, that is enough to kill you. You get hypoglycemia, your sugar goes so low, below 40, below 20, you can die just with a hypoglycemic attack. So if Allah Ta'ala has kept us alive, He has kept all these balances in check for us. Some we are testing and we are knowing, okay, this is high, that is low, and we have to change this and that. But only because Allah Ta'ala wants us to live, we are living. And we have to appreciate this fact. As we know, one change in the potassium, so somebody just takes potassium intravenously in the vein, in 10 minutes that person can die. Right? So the balance that Allah Ta'ala has maintained, the kidneys that has been given for that, so the whole system that Allah Ta'ala has created. So Allah Ta'ala is saying, see within yourself the examples. But we don't openly say this is nature, it has been designed that way. It is again because we are seeing so many. So each and every human being that is alive is alive with the permission of Allah and the grace of Allah. And we have to try and see on where we are lying. So as in Surah Al-Insan, Allah Ta'ala says that, doesn't man consider that he's been created from something which was not even mentionable? Who wants to mention the seminal fluid? And Allah Ta'ala is giving a challenge. And then Allah Ta'ala is saying, and then Allah Ta'ala has given him the way. Imma shakira wa imma kafura. So if he wants, he can do shukr, or if he wants, he can do kufr. Right? So Allah Ta'ala make us from the shakirin. Any other comments? Okay. So we are already 11, so we can inshallah stop if there are no questions.